What's up, everyone? Blake here. Welcome back to the Fasting Lifestyle channel. Thank you for being here. And in today's video, I wanted to give you guys a quick update on how I'm feeling after my dry fast. Today is the 3-week mark since I had that sip of delicious water following my dry fast. And man, 3 weeks has flown right on by. And I can't believe how fast my body has changed and evolved since I was at my lowest weight of 163 pounds on that day that I broke my dry fast to now I'm back up to 180 pounds. That's 17 pounds over the course of 3 weeks. And so, yeah, let's just jump right in and tell you guys that, for the most part, I'm feeling fantastic. After every single fast that I've done, I feel like I have changed and peeled off layers of who I am and gotten back towards the truest and realest me possible. And that definitely happened to a very strong degree on my dry fast. I really liked being light. I really liked being flexible and having, great cardio, less body weight to carry around. But at the same time, I also like having a little bit more muscle as well. So at 180 pounds, I've gotten a good portion of my muscle back. And of course, it's going to be a lot of water weight. But if you look at the video of me breaking my dry fast, you can see that I'm noticeably thinner than how I look now. This is kind of like my natural set weight. So my natural set weight used to be around 195, and now it's around 180. So over the course of 2025, with all the juice fasting that I've done, the 7.5-day water fast, and now the 5.5-day dry fast, slowly but surely adjusted my homeostasis set weight down to about 180 pounds, right in that area. I like to keep it even a little bit lower than that. So the range that I like to keep it at is between 175 and 180. It's just that I'm still fighting my body a little bit. My body is still feeling hungry and still feeling like it wants to put on size and wants to put on weight. But we shall see. I have a lot more fasts to do and a lot more adjustments to do on how I nourish myself in between fasts. So for example, after I broke my dry fast, I was staying on juices and fruits for over a week before I started incorporating salads. Very simple salads of cucumber, tomato, peppers, sprouts, some herbs, and some lettuce with a little coconut aminos and salt, just a tiny little bit of salt. And that's been going very well. But I couldn't help but feeling more hungry. And since I'm still keeping up a very robust workout schedule of yoga, running, cycling, martial arts, weightlifting, calisthenics, that my body was just wanting more denser foods. So I've had some cooked soups that are vegetable soups with some legumes in them. I like mung beans because I can sprout them first very easily before I make the vegetable soup with mung beans. In fact, I had some of that today. It was fantastic. But I will say that I feel better overall on all raw foods, of course. So I'm still experimenting, guys. I'm still seeing what my body wants and trying to give that to my body in a way that keeps myself clean on the inside. That's why these soups that I'm making are mucusless, and I only have them once a week. And the rest of the time, it's fruits, vegetables, and I've been having some steamed squash and steamed pumpkin about once a day, relatively small portion. But yeah, nourishing myself in a way that keeps myself clean and also keeps me light in the weight range that I want to be and having the longevity that I want to have as I work more towards fruitarianism. And I dare say, my form of breatharianism, or at least what I can conceive right now in my mind is changing my belief system and being more nourished by prana and building up my meditation practice and my energy practice, whether it's through qigong, neigong, the microcosmic orbit meditation, things like that. So these are my plans for the future. but as of right now, I've gained some weight back. I feel great. I'm feel like I'm thriving, and I feel like that dry fast set me up for total success with my health, my mindset. I've been able to experiment with sleeping less and getting about 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night rather than my usual 8-ish, sometimes more if I'm honest. And that was a little bit of an adjustment, but my body's doing very well with that. There are some cautions that I would say that I've learned through my research of fasting and that I can potentially draw a conclusion that these things may have occurred to me. And one such thing is that you can start to tax your adrenal system because when you're fasting and fasting often and fasting for long durations often, then you're pumping a lot of cortisol through your system and you're taxing your adrenals. So this can be bad, especially if you already have compromised adrenals to begin with. Someone who has a reliance on caffeine, stimulants, sugar, is burning the midnight oil, so to speak, maybe overtraining. These are all going to tax your adrenal system. So add long-term fasting on top of that, and then that can really start to downshift your ability to feel up and feel like you have energy without needing to be stimulated. And, as a result of the dry fast, was able to kick caffeine, and I've stayed true to that this entire time since I had already been weaning down much of 2025. Whether it's just residual effects from the caffeine addiction or just a lot of fasting this year, I think that my adrenals are definitely in a state of, I guess you could say, repairing. So just watch that you're not fasting too long, too often. And if you need help with your adrenals, there's some good herbs that purportedly help that. So I'm currently having licorice, dandelion, and nettle in my morning herbal tea. And that does seem to be helping quite a bit. And I'm able to still, get amped up for my workouts and perform very well. And also stay strong mentally and stay focused, which has been really cool. But just watch that your adrenals don't get too low and that you're just like struggling to get out of bed, because that can be a sign of adrenal fatigue. And it's a better idea to get your adrenals functioning better before you start to undergo longer term fasting. Another potential danger of longer term fasting is that you're going to downshift your metabolism. Now, let me just be clear here that, in my opinion, you don't want to have a super high metabolism. My favorite analogy to give is when you compare how many heartbeats we have per minute. Let's just say 60 beats per minute on average. And then you compare that to animals that are like smaller than us, and they can be 100 beats a minute or 200 beats a minute, or the hummingbird has like some ridiculous number of how many beats per minute its heart is beating away. But the very clear correlation is that the more your heart beats, or the faster your heart beats, I should say, the quicker you die. So these animals, as their average heart rate increases, their lifespan decreases. Metabolism is kind of the same as that. The higher your metabolism, in my opinion, it's going to burn your life out faster. There have been studies of the longest living people out there, and one of the common threads amongst them is they're pretty even keel, and they weren't overexerting themselves throughout their lives. You can see some people, and a couple names are popping in my mind, but I'm not going to say any names, but, it's okay to be a workaholic, but you've also got to be a restaholic at the same time and balance that out, or else you are drawing on your life force energy too much and you're shortening your lifespan. So don't play around with that too deep and, be too overactive and hyperactive. Okay. So that's on one side of things. On the other side of things, fasting, it can start to downshift your metabolism, which is good Okay. But then when you enter into the refeeding stage, just be cautious about slowly increasing your meal size, slowly increasing your caloric intake, and just knowing that, whether it's water weight or water retention from introducing salt back into your diet, or just the caloric load of having food versus having no food in a fast, your body is going to take its time to reacclimate to eating. And then if you just blast a bunch of food after not having eaten, then especially on a dry fast, that's equivalent to 3 times its length of a water fast. So for me, that would have been a 16.5 day water fast. That's nothing to shake a stick at. And so I have noticed pretty quick and volatile changes in my weight. And even for me, somebody who's seasoned in the game and has been in this realm for some time, it can be psychologically jarring, So, for example, today I had, some excess calories yesterday and a little bit of excess calories today. So I didn't weigh myself today, and I'm probably not going to weigh myself tomorrow. And tomorrow, eating super clean, probably I'm going to have a raw day of just fruits and a salad. And then I'll weigh myself on the day after that, just because I don't want to shock myself psychologically and have it be a number that is going to perhaps make me feel some kind of way, whether it's disappointed or whatever. All right. And that's about it, guys. So just be cautious, fast safely, do your research, ramp yourself up to these longer term fasts. Take enough time in between your fasts. And then each time in between your fasts, clean up your diet, eat more whole foods, eat less quantities, eat more fruits, more water rich fruits and vegetables. Start eliminating the animal products. That's my personal take. Whatever you want to do is up to you, but that's just my style right now. And you're going to eventually get cleaner and cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. Yeah, you'll lose a bunch of fat during a fast. You'll put a little back on, but the fat that you're losing is you're also losing toxins that have been stored in that fat for God knows how long. So then when you put on new fat, it's cleaner fat. So the fat that you're going to be running on in subsequent fasts is going to be a cleaner burning fuel. You're going to have less detox symptoms, and your body's going to be able to do even deeper cleaning. And then the cycle continues and the cycle continues. And as you start to repair your adrenal glands and come into homeostasis with your metabolism and what set weight that you feel like you want to be and you feel like that your body wants to be, then now you're really starting to get somewhere with your physical health of your vessel. And then all the mental, emotional, and spiritual advancement and deprogramming that is happening throughout the process is just going to make you into, I feel like I'm becoming more and more super Blake in like a super humble sort of way and of service to you guys, of course. But I mean, it definitely doesn't suck to feel like you're making progress on your journey and becoming a better version of yourself. And that's what I want for all of you guys. If you would like to reach out to me and get some help with that or get a second opinion or see if you have any blind spots and have me take a look on that, then hop on a free consultation. The link is in the description below. We have Black Friday and Thanksgiving, or as I'm now starting to say, since I'm in the plant-based realm, Thanksgiving. Right around the corner, I have something special that I'm cooking up for you guys. So stay tuned for that, especially on my Instagram page, which is just Blake Herrick _. So go follow me there. If you're not yet subscribed, smash the like button. And until next time, guys, I will talk soon. Peace.